It's Cindy Welter from loveblockers.love. Inspirational blogging is what I like to do. And sometimes you find lessons in the oddest of places. So this is my first video blog, and I want to share with you a fun little story, a lesson I learned in the oddest of places. I went to West Palm Beach recently on a little business/vacation trip, and while I was there I decided to step out of my comfort zone like I am with this video and just do some things I wouldn't do back home. So I took an aerial yoga class, which is exactly what I'm sitting on right now, is an aerial yoga device. And I was scared, intimidated, excited, a whole realm of things. But I knew I was in a place where no one would know me, and I thought I'm just going to go for it. So when I arrived there, I go to the very back row, and there's 3 trapeze devices or yoga devices hanging, and I go to the center one and am just in waiting for the instructor to get started. So along comes 2 other women, and one comes to my left, and she grabs that aerial device, and she's a cute, fit, petite little thing, and just sweet as pie. Very kind, very loving, very sweet. And then another girl comes, and comes to my right. She doesn't make any eye contact with me. She doesn't say anything. She's definitely in her own space, which is okay. I get that. I do that sometimes too. And she is, and this is not from a judgmental standpoint. I'm just telling you the way it is. She's small framed with big, huge implants. And so the class begins, and soon I realize with the first move that the girl to my left, this petite, strong looking girl, is very graceful on this yoga device. I mean, I was just in awe. So I proceed to say something to her at some point, and I'm like, wow, you are outstanding on this. That's unbelievable. And she says, well, really, she says, don't compare. She said, I used to know nothing about this, but I travel with Disney, and I do an aerial routine that they forced me to learn how to do, and so therefore I'm on maternity leave now, and I'm trying to keep my skills up, and that's why I already know what I'm doing on this, is I've been trained through Disney on Ice. So she sort of became my role model of just watching her during this yoga class. I'm staring at everything she does, trying to role model my movement after her. And of course, I'm clumsy, but I'm doing it. I'm going through the motions. I'm pulling myself up. I'm able to laugh at myself. And I'm like, all right, this isn't as bad as it could have been. And then, but I'm still scared inside that I'm not going to be good enough, that I'm not going to be able to be strong enough, and all of this. So after a while, I noticed that the other girl, who I was intimidated by her looks, I'm sure, maybe jealous of her, voluptuous looking body. So the girl on the right, the implant girl, I soon notice, all of a sudden I look at her, and she's off the device, and she's angry. She's going around in a circle on the floor, just pacing, saying, this is ridiculous, and she's angry. And so now I take more notice of her, and when the next move comes, I notice that she can't even pull herself up to a standing position on the aerial device. And so here's where the lesson comes in. My first thought when I see this was, ha! Like, I can do this, you can't, ha ha. Definitely an ego response. It was, oh my gosh, this was all from insecurity, fear, ego, that I am literally like a big laugh out loud at her, that she couldn't do it and I could. So I continue on, and watching the instructor, watching my role model to the left, and doing a few moves. And then after a moment or so, I still notice the girl on my right struggling. And my second thought comes in, which is, oh, she's really struggling. And then I take notice that, my gosh, she's just not reaching high enough. If she reached higher, she could have the momentum to pull herself up, and she's just not reaching high enough. She could do this if she just reached a little higher. So I get off my device, and I finally come to my senses a little, and I say, you can do this. I said, if you just reach a little higher, you can pull yourself straight up. So she looks at me, sad, mad. I don't know what the look is. And she reaches higher and up she goes. And the smile emerges to her face and she mouths, "Thank you." So I get back on my device, and where I felt I could say something that encouraged her a little bit here and there, I would say something to her that kind of gave her that extra little push of, "You got this, you can do this." And then on we went with the class. So finally the class ends, and she immediately walks over, introduces herself, wants to know my name, and then I'm just packing up, and she follows me right out to my car, and she's just talking. She's like, "Thank you so much. I would have never come back to one of these classes again if I hadn't ended up getting that little bit of encouragement that helped me to do it." So there we stood in the parking lot, me saggy, her perky, and I could have had a lost opportunity in my first thought, which was ego. "Ha, I can do this, you can't," but the lesson is, I think often in life we have a first thought, which comes from a place of ego or fear, or just a place that is not necessarily of God, or of love. And if we search and look and expect that second thought to come in, and know that we're just souls, we're not defined by what we look like, our bodies, our anything. We're just soul to soul. Love is really, really powerful. And that connection came, and there was a love flow, an exchange that was able to happen between us. And I left there feeling good because I helped another soul, not good because I could manage to get through that class somehow. And so the lesson that I learned out of there is that so often, whether we're riding on the road and someone cuts us off, and our first thought is, "You son of a whatever," but if we wait for that second thought of love, it actually brings ourselves more peace and happiness, which is, well, I'll bet his mother's in the hospital, and that's why he had to cut me off. Sometimes letting people off the hook with that second thought, or just reaching outside of ourselves to a place of love is where we need to find our space to react. And if we always react from a first thought, we're going to be stuck in a place of sort of misery. And if we allow that second thought to come in, the thought that comes from God, from soul to soul, a place of love, and we react from that second thought, we're going to be happier, we're going to be more connected, we're going to spread more love, we're going to receive more love, and we're going to feel better about ourselves. And I think that we're all on a spectrum of that. There's times when we're all stuck in a first thought reactive state, or it just happens, and then there's times in our life where we're sort of trained to always wait for that second thought to come in, and to react from a place of love, and to do the right thing. But for me, it's always awareness, and just being aware, okay, this first thought you're having may not be from a good place, a place of love, and I better look for that second thought to come in, and to try to, through awareness, training myself to react from a place of love. So that was my story of saggy versus perky, and how if I got stuck in that, it would have been the end of my good thinking. And when I got to a place of, we weren't defined by that, we were just two souls looking for the same thing, a little success, a little validation, a little bit of help from another. And that's what left me on a high. Not the fact that I could do any of those things on the aerial yoga thing. It was the fact that I helped another soul. And that's why I left that class feeling wonderful, that lasted for a few days. So I hope that inspired you, first thought versus second thought. And I hope that resonates with you. And if it does, please share. I really appreciate when people do that. Make a comment below. And always love to you. I challenge you today to find that second thought, and to act from a place of love. Have an awesome day. Bye-bye.